Hey everyone, Sean here. Welcome to the TensionFreeTV channel. Just a quick one today. I'm gonna start going live and sharing videos because filming, editing and posting takes more time, and time is precious, and there's a lot to get through, so let's just start, and hopefully you get some benefit from these videos. Today's video is about tension. What is it? Basically, tension is anything that makes us feel not free. And tension in the mind is like a bad idea or an incomplete idea. Can leave you feeling a bit trapped and a bit, unsure of what to do next, confused, lost, negative, whatever. Any suffering that appears in mind, it's because we've fallen into some kind of negative idea or ideology. Tension in the heart is like trapped in a negative feeling or no feeling at all. I remember listening to a Gabor Mate podcast, and he explains that when he was a baby, a traumatic event happened to him, and ever since then he hasn't actually felt his own emotion. So yeah, a negative feeling can also be that your feeling is blocked and you're trapped in almost no feeling. And I was a bit like that until I had an experience that opened my my heart, and I felt for the first time. I felt love, I felt joy, I felt like, yeah, so many different emotions appear. I could feel them, whereas before that, I just felt a bit numb. I would still get frustrated and angry, and I would still have good feelings, but they were a bit more muted. But that's a little bit more abstract when we get into mind and emotion. So we're going to start simply with physical tension, tension in the body. Now, tension in the body is like, we all kind of understand that if I flex a muscle too long, I can create a knot in that muscle. We all know what muscle knots are. But knots in a muscle aren't the only type of tension we can create in the body. There's a special substance called fascia, and fascia wraps around every muscle, every bone, every organ, every part of the body. There's fascia, and we're aware of fascia. We actually move and connect to fascia, and fascia responds really well to stress and stimulus. It adapts and it grows and it recovers. It does some wonderful things. But unless we understand fascia, we are trapped because it's a pretty magical substance. So for a bicep to be able to lift 100 kilos, for that muscle to move like that, it means that the tendon that's supporting it has to be able to handle enough power for that to move without this letting go. So the real power is actually in the tendon and the fascia. And if we want to unlock the body, it's best to address where it's blocked in there. So physical tension is a big part of what I unlock to help people get out of pain. It decompresses the body. So when the body feels blocked and tense, it just gets less room to circulate. Can't function properly when it's all blocked. So keeping it all open and having space for all the joints to work, it's a big discipline that I like to help people connect to, because it makes, literally, when this body feels open and free, you feel more open and free. Your heart and mind will follow, because life is a system of cause and effect. And tension has a cause, and when it's in your body and you're trapped in tension, that is the cause, and the result is feeling trapped, feeling negative, and your body starts to get sick or damaged more easily. So unlocking tension is one of my favorite lifestyle disciplines. I do it regularly. But first, before we go into all of that, and I'll teach more of that in future videos, in this video, I just want you to understand that even though life seems really complicated and confusing sometimes, there is a really cool system that explains it. And it's called cause and effect. And there's a story behind cause and effect, so I'm going to tell the story. The way I understand it is, there was a prince. His name was Siddhartha. And when he was about to be born, someone predicted that he would either be the best king, like he would grow up as a prince and become the best king for that era, and he would help a lot of people and help the kingdom go into an era of great flourishing, thrive. Or he would abandon his role as king and royalty, and he would go and become a holy man and try to understand eternal Dharma and help every life out of suffering. So his father was like doing his best to protect him from seeing suffering. He kind of kept him distracted. He got him a palace for every season of the year that had the best feng shui and the best like energy, so he would not have discomfort and he wouldn't want to go outside the palace. And so when he's getting to that age where he's starting to get curious and ask about going outside, keep him inside forever, he's going to go outside. So he like tells the whole city to hide the sick people, hide looks like suffering or not perfect, hide it so his son doesn't see it. Doing this tour of the city, and just this random old man like steps out in front of the flotilla and is like all bent over and buckled, and the prince sees it and is like, what's going on there? And the guy looking after him says, oh, that's just an old man. And he says, yeah, but he looks so old and suffering. What happened? Like, how did he get like that? And his advisor's like, oh, that's age. We all kind of go through that. And he's like, I don't want to go through that. And he's like, it's kind of part of life, you know? He's like, show me more. What else is part of life that I don't know about? And so in this little, I'm going to cut it short, he actually experiences, he sees sick people. He actually sees the sick, elderly, and death. And he then is shocked to realize that with birth comes aging, illness, and death. They're like a cycle. And so he's like flipping out about it. He's like, no, take me back to the palace. I need to observe this. Like, and he goes back to the palace, and while he's observing it, and another story, that's the first time he realizes that there's a cycle at play. There's suffering is a part of human existence. And then the next time he observes cause and effect, I think they're at something called a festival. I think it's a flotilla festival, where they like have a bull plow through the field. And so the bull's dragging this flotilla through the field, and it's in the hot sun, and everyone's like celebrating. They're having a party, they're having a great old time. But to the humans, it's great. It's like, this ceremony is fun. But to the bull, it's hard work. It's out like dragging this thing, getting whipped. It's not really having a great time. So he realized then and there that like good and bad is relative. For the bull, it's terrible, but for the humans, it's good that the bull feels that terrible. And if you look in nature, like when a lion takes down a zebra, it's great for the lion and its family, but it's terrible for the zebra and the zebra's family. So good and bad becomes a relative term now. So he observes, oh wow, for humans this is good, but for the bull that's not so good. And then when the bull passed this one spot, he saw that the plow uncovered a worm, and the worm's there like wriggling around trying to get back down. But before it can get back underground, a bird swoops in and eats the worm and takes it off and lands in a tree. And then while the bird's in the tree, like breaking up the worm, trying to eat it, a snake comes out of nowhere and grabs the bird. And he realized in that moment, wow, like humans, by doing this, create the cause for that to happen. So because the humans wanted to have this festival and they make this bull work so hard, it's suffering for the bull. That, without meaning to, uncovers a worm, and that leads to the death of the worm. And then the bird thinks it's going to eat the worm, lands in a tree, and then gets eaten by a snake. So humans, cause and effect, created this ripple on they didn't realize. And if you observe everything in life, everything happens through cause and effect. There's nothing that escapes this law. And if everything appears through cause and effect, and we are sharp, according to Buddha, if you are sharp enough, you can observe and understand and be free from suffering, because suffering has a cause. And so too does joy. So too does like free from pain, free from suffering. And there's many different ways to talk about and explain life. But just to give you a basic, place to kick off, and I'll share more in future videos. If you like this video, give me a comment, tell me so, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends. But everything that appears is through cause and effect. And the way cause and effect works is there's always like, we have a choice. So even though throughout my life, everything's changed, it's always been different space, different age, different body. Like I was once premature. That's a little baby in my dad's hand. And now I'm a proper man. Like you can't say the baby was me, but you also can't say this version of me is me because it will keep changing. But the one thing that's always been the same, no matter what situation I'm in, is I am the one aware of the situation and I'm making choices. We call that your main cause. Main cause, I can't, make decisions and do things alone. The world is a combination of causes. So even this, I like talking about and sharing Dharma and helping people release tension. But I can talk to a phone all day on my own. No one's going to benefit from it. So it's not sharing until someone else watches, listens, learns and observes and appreciates it, even takes it on and becomes that idea. Once that happens, that's called a supporting cause. That's the second one. So for me to want to share Dharma, I need someone to share it with. Learn Dharma, I can want to be a student, that's my main intention, but I need a teacher to support that cause to appear. So main cause, main supporting cause, they have to appear together at the right timing. And when the timing's right, that's like, schedules, time of your life, like life trajectory, you're in the right time to have this technology to listen to each other. All of that has to marry up. And after that, there's one more. It's called all the direct and indirect causes. So for YouTube or whatever platform we're streaming through to exist, for the iPhone to exist, all the way back to whatever the beginning of humans or life was. You could call it the Big Bang, whatever you want to call it, whatever started it, that beginning, up till now, there's been many direct and indirect cause and effect that had to take place for us to be here now. Something as simple as an apple. If you pick an apple up, you think, oh, this apple just grows on a tree. But no, inside that apple is an apple seed. And that apple seed contains the information for unlimited more apples. But we just see this one apple and we just take this apple exists here. But that apple came from a tree. And that tree came from a tiny little seed that was in another apple. And that seed needed nutrients from the soil, needed water, and needed sunlight, and it needed the right air, or CO2, I think apples eat. But yeah, those four causes had to appear for that apple to become the tiniest little tree. And then it kept needing the right causes to grow into a tree big enough to create an apple. And now that apple within it has so many seeds, maybe one, maybe five, but each one seed has the information for unlimited more apple trees. It's pretty cool. So yeah, the cause and effect thing is really deep. And if we observe it, we can kind of take control of life a bit more and not get stuck in so much suffering. The other thing we need to know is how we create or involve in cause and effect. And the way we do that is through our actions. What I do is like dropping a rock in water. It's going to ripple out. So if I walk into a public area, I can walk up to people, and if I bump into them, if I trip over, how I act is going to create cause and effect. Same too, the things I say are going to create a certain type of cause and effect. So if I walk into a crowded room and say, I love you all, it's going to create one effect. But if I walk in and say, you're all lost, start yelling at them and giving them insults, that's going to have a different effect. The way we speak and act is called outward cause and effect. And that is something worth observing and changing. You can really easily tweak the way you act and speak, much more easily than the other two, which is the way we think. Our thoughts kind of just appear. We don't really have a lot of control over what thoughts appear. We might be able to guide them onto certain subjects, and that's cool, that's one level, but thoughts appear without us really choosing them sometimes. And that's because they come from a deeper layer, which is called your intention. And intention is a very abstract word, and I'll go into it in more detail in the future, but think of it like you have 84,000 intentions in each moment. We don't realize we have that much, and we're probably not aware of most of them. Like, for us to have a body where our lungs naturally take in oxygen, that might take 20,000 intentions. I don't know, this is how I see it. And for me to have a heart that keeps pumping my blood, there's another 20,000 intentions. And a stomach that keeps digesting and asking for food and making me feel hungry. There's more intentions. And to have desire, to want, a nice place to live, or want materials or whatever. The intentions create change, and they force us to, or not force us, but they give us energy to do different things. And there's many different types of energy. And if I ask you to define energy, maybe you have a simple and complete definition, maybe not. But one way to define it is anything that's moving or changing. If it's moving or changing, there's energy there. And everything is kind of energy, but when we break it up into different types of energy, different qualities of energy, and different functions, it becomes a bit different. But for now, just observe that everything appears through cause and effect, and we influence cause and effect through intention, thinking, speaking, and action. It's really hard to change your intention straight away, so we start by purifying our action and our speaking and connecting to wise ideas like this Dharma, this wisdom, and eventually we develop the ability to change intention. And you might be asking, what good does that do? How does that help? Well, if you observe through cause and effect suffering, it usually appears when we are blind, like we aren't aware, and we have an intention that is out of harmony with the system. So, simple example, if you jump behind the wheel of a car, having never done any lessons and you don't understand road rules, you're probably going to cause a bit of suffering for yourself and others with that car. But if you jump behind the wheel of that car and you've learned the road system and you're aware of how it works and you drive in harmony with that system, you'll get from A to B. You might take some passengers with you, probably going to have a great day. But if you blindfold yourself, even if you know the road rules and you blindfold yourself, big problem. You're blind, you can't see. And if you don't know the road rules and you're blind, double suffering for everyone if you even figure out how to get the car moving. So being aware of a system and learning how to be in harmony with it is a really wise first step. So we call that observing. Observe more deeply to be aware. Observe to understand the systems or the energies at play. And observe ourselves and see how we can connect to that system without creating problems. So yeah, don't be blind. Don't try to be wise. Try not to be blind. And yeah, if we have the power to guide cause and effect, we can guide it away from suffering. And a big part of what I do I'm like helping people unlock their body and restore agility and pain-free motion. Big part of what I do is observe the cause and effect behind their blockages. And it's usually physical tension and a little bit of a body awareness, like they're not aware of how they're creating the problem. And probably they need help recovering from and reducing the amount of stress that they're being influenced by. So yeah, life is a pretty amazing system, and it's important to be aware of it and try to be in harmony with it so we don't create a little negative experience for ourselves and those around us. And yeah, that's pretty much today's first episode. I'm just going to go live and drop these every now and then, but I'm going to leave you with one word to change your speaking and action, intention and thinking. It's a very commonly heard word. Everyone knows this word, or not everyone, but a lot of people know it. I just don't know how much justice they do to the meaning of it, so I'm going to give it to you here quickly. The sound is Om. Om. It's used in many mantras. Om Mani Padme Om. There's heaps of different ones. Medicine Buddha one. Om Pola Mola Poling Soha is Hell Buddha Sava. But Om itself is a very powerful word. It's made up of 4 sounds. The first one is like, just got a static electricity off my table. It hurts. That's the first sound. Suffering sound. When something creates suffering, the universal sound is So and then static electricity. That's the cause of it. And this is how I stop it. Is the understanding. I understand where suffering came from. Realization kind of sound. And then when you release suffering, it's like a massage. Like, that's better. So soothing suffering, using wisdom to reduce the suffering. And then when you're free from all the different forms of suffering, you don't need to make any more sound. You just enjoy the perfect, joyful silence because you're not in suffering anymore. Like a bottle that only has a little bit of water in it. If you shake it, it makes a lot of noise. Humans are a bit like that. When they only have a little bit of happiness, they make a lot of noise. But if they're really full of happiness and contentment and they're not in discomfort and suffering, silence appears. So Om is a sound you can say whenever you want, and it'll kind of be a new cause and effect, a new karma, or a new intention, thinking and speaking, and it ripples into action. And I'll teach you more about that next time. But for now, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. It was about tension, causation, and Om. And I'll be back in the next one. Hope you're having a lovely day, and I'll see you soon. Have a lovely day. I don't know how to stop this live.